People, Deluded, I'm back again. A couple of brief opinions I just wanted to speak about very quickly with you guys. Now, last night against Olympiacos, 47% of Olympiacos attacks came down our right-hand side, in which they were clearly targeting Socrates, who I believe did well, but obviously he's not a right-back by trade. You can make your own mind up. Apparently, on the flip side, 41% of our attacking play was down the right, but Socrates had just 3 touches in the final third, so was obviously barely involved. Again, he's not a natural fullback. When he gets past the halfway line, he is going to be quite stiff. He'll put in a shift, and I think he did it to his capabilities, but it's not him. Why I bring that to you is because is Maitland-Niles done out here now, people? Again, I don't want to speculate and say because he didn't play, it is what it is. But it is a bit concerning in that, you know, since Arteta's actually been coming into the side, he's a lot more confident at right back. And I think he's played relatively fine in that role. But he's seen, in the same way Holding is seeing, and Mustafi's repaid Arteta's faith, seeing Mustafi and Socrates, who are contracted until 2021, play ahead of you right now. What aren't you doing, sort of thing? Bellerin's seen as a better option clearly than Maitland-Niles. Maitland-Niles is seeing Socrates in a big game away from home play right back ahead of him. Again, he's not a right back by trade, but it does lead you to believe, is there a plan for Maitland here? Now, Arteta's spoken about potentially him playing as a defensive mid in that Joe Willock role as well, so we don't know what his plans are, and it's important not to draw headlines. But you'd imagine to a degree Maitland-Niles' career here, at least it's looking, and I hope it's not, to some capacity, is numbered, because if he's not going to get a look in at right back, he's not had a chance in midfield. I mean, Arteta's spoken about him being a midfielder. We'll never know if the Guendouzi thing was blown out of proportion, but Guendouzi played ahead of him, so there's got to be a reason for this, people, sort of thing. And I did think Maitland-Niles would come on, because I think Socrates was doing alright defensively, but we had nothing down the right hand side. And I think with Bellerin, with Maitland-Niles, Aubameyang would still have to defend, but he could venture further forward. He wouldn't need to have been as deep as he was, and we could have got more play down the right hand side. I thought that'd be a sub he's going to make. I don't want to draw conclusions, but yeah, and you're being honest, Maitland-Niles is a player we should be getting 20 million minimum for if it is to move. And like I've said in previous vid, he needs to, there's nothing he can do this season, but he needs to ask Arteta genuinely, how does he see him in his plan, sort of thing, people. And apparently, I mean, look at Maitland-Niles. Maitland-Niles has made more appearances in the Europa League / UEFA Cup than any other player in Arsenal's history. 24. It might not be the most glamorous of history, but his name's attached for something at Arsenal, and it must be difficult not getting a chance. You had your chance, and I think you did your thing under Arteta. Maybe Arteta wants to see something more. Maybe you're not playing. Maybe certain players are playing to put them in the shop window, and that brings me on to Mustafi. Now, Mustafi has been playing quite well, excluding the mistakes, and he will make that sort of Chelsea mistake again, but he looks more confident, he looks more braver, he's repaying the manager's faith. For me, barely did not put a foot wrong. Probably the better of Luis played well against Olympiacos, but for me it's Mustafi, because Mustafi played very well defensively, and he obviously showed his quality to play the ball to Aubameyang, for Aubameyang and Saka to link up, for Laka to score. So I have complete faith in what I'm seeing from Mustafi, but you have to wonder, is Arteta playing him through means? Is he playing him to put him in the shop window? Because when we alienated Mustafi, getting him moved on wasn't working. So with him playing, his confidence is playing. Obviously, he's playing good for us, so that benefits us short term. But it might put him in the shop window. People might sit there in the summer and go, yo, Mustafi's turned a corner. He's contracted until 2021. He's 27. Arsenal need to make a decision. Are Arsenal gonna, if Arteta wants to utilise Mustafi, are Arsenal gonna give him a new deal? I have to say as well, because again, he's contracted until 2021. So like Saka and Aubameyang, decisions have to be made. You've obviously got Socrates as well. And I think Mustafi's one is going to be an interesting one. Is he playing him because he's got faith in him? And if he does, he's repaying him and he's playing well. Is he playing him to put him in the shop window? I don't know. Joe Willock as well. Again, there clearly is a push from the club, by someone in the club or some ethos, to make him a creative player. Lumberg, Emre and now Arteta have played him in that role, and he brings a lot of energy, and he can develop his final ball and stuff, but I just don't think it's his skill set. For me, Joe Willock, and Arteta knows more than me, and I like Joe Willock, so I don't care if he plays box to box or camera. I want him to be a success there, but I personally think his strengths, from what I'm seeing since he's been, because he's played in the role he's playing at academy level, But I think even since when Wenger bust Joe Willock, I think the strengths I'm seeing from Joe is when he's playing in that box-to-box role. I look at Liverpool away, I look at Newcastle, I look at both games against Liverpool, the cup game and actually when we lost in the league. Joe Willock plays quite well in that pivot for me. Like one of the two. Like for me, he should be competing with Xhaka, Torreira, Guendouzi, and these sort of man there for that spot. Because I think he's a good ball carrier. I don't think he's necessarily a strong dribbler. I think he's a good carrier of a ball. I think he can score goals, but I don't think he's the creative trailblazer or the team's creative catalyst in that. I don't think he's got the ability to continuously break the line. I don't feel his currently decision making is good enough. I don't feel, as a creative, I don't feel he seeks to, I think he wants to get onto the ball, but when you're a creative player, you need to get onto the ball a bit more. I don't think he knows how to seek the ball if it's not coming to him, and I don't think his skill set is really to go and seek the ball and try and, creative situations in that when you see Ceballos and Ozil. I don't think that's Joe. I think he's a box-to-box man. But what do I know sort of thing, people? Listen, I have faith in Arteta, whatever he does with his team, people, but that's just me commenting on that. And again, if I'm Socrates, if I'm holding Maitland-Niles and a couple of these players, I'm thinking Wagwan, because both of them are contracted until 2023. Both of them have time on their side, and both of them have been not seen as better options in Holding's case to play ahead of Mustafi, regardless of his injury, and Maitland-Niles' case to get a nod in at right back. For players that only have a year here on paper, in that they're contracted until 2021, and if we take what Thingy said at face value, Sanye, a decision has to be made. Could the club give Mustafi a new deal if he's playing well and Arteta wants to use him? As you lot know, we've got to make decisions over a number of players in our team, but a lot of the defence, because there's men that are contracted until 2021, there's dons that are on loan that could become forgotten men. A decision has to be made. There's a lot of people on the books, people. It is what it is. What was I going to say? Again, I don't need to sit here all day about Saka. We need to be giving Saka that contract, man, because if we lose him, it's an L. It's a serious L. Scary player. And I think Martinelli showed yesterday that he's human. And again, he's 18, it's no biggie. But it's games like against Olympiacos in that we need Martinelli to learn from. Why didn't he stand out as much? Why didn't it come off for him like in other games? Don't get twisted. Martinelli's done it against... Did he play against United? I'm sure he played against United, but he's done it against Chelsea. He's played West Ham. He's played well in a number of big games, so it's nothing. He was due to have a bit of a mare sort of thing. He's played well against Liverpool. He's due to have a game where he didn't stand out sort of thing. But it's just showing he's human, and you want Martinelli to learn from that. And I think he's humble enough too, because everything's been going well for Martinelli. Nothing, obviously it weren't poor for Martinelli, weren't poor, but it just, it weren't what we've become accustomed to. But these are the games you want him to learn from. You can't always learn when it's going well for you sort of thing, people. On that note, I've got nothing more to add, so I'm going to get out of here. People, it's always a pleasure. Deluded, I'm out. Thank you for watching and rocking each and every time.